I always had a fascination with the dark and mysterious. When I heard about Aokigahara, also known as the Suicide Forest, I couldn't resist the urge to explore it myself. Nestled at the base of Mount Fuji in Japan, this forest is infamous for being a place where many people end their lives. The thought of wandering through a place with such a grim reputation thrilled and terrified me in equal measure. I had just graduated from college and was dealing with a lot of personal issues. My parents' messy divorce and my recent breakup had left me feeling lost and aimless. Exploring Aokigahara felt like a way to escape my problems, or maybe, in some twisted way, confront them. The day I entered Aokigahara, the sky was overcast, casting a gloomy shadow over the forest. The moment I stepped in, I felt a chill run down my spine. The trees were so dense that they blocked out most of the sunlight, and the silence was deafening. It was as if the forest itself was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. The air was thick with an unsettling stillness, and every step I took seemed to echo through the trees. The forest floor was covered in a thick layer of fallen leaves and underbrush, making it difficult to see where I was going. I tried to follow the paths marked on my map, but they quickly disappeared, swallowed up by the dense vegetation. The smell of damp earth and decaying leaves filled my nostrils, adding to the sense of unease. As I walked deeper, the feeling of being watched grew stronger. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig made my heart race. I couldn't shake off the feeling that I wasn't alone, that something was lurking just out of sight, observing my every move. I glanced over my shoulder more than once, half expecting to see someone, or something, following me. About an hour into my hike, I stumbled upon an abandoned campsite. There was a tent, half collapsed, with personal belongings scattered around. The sight was eerie, as if the campers had left in a hurry. Curiosity got the better of me, and I started rummaging through the items. Among them, I found a journal. The entries were disturbing, filled with despair and hopelessness. The last entry sent chills down my spine. The whispers won't stop. They want me to join them. Suddenly, I heard a faint whisper. At first, I thought it was just the wind, but then I heard it again, clearer this time. It was calling my name. My heart pounded in my chest as I looked around, but there was no one there. The feeling of being watched intensified, and I knew I had to move on, but those whispers, they stayed with me. Despite my growing fear, I ventured further into the forest. The deeper I went, the more signs I saw of previous visitors. Nooses hung from tree branches, and personal belongings were strewn about, abandoned by those who had come here with no intention of leaving. The forest seemed to be littered with the remnants of lost souls, each item telling a story of despair. That's when I saw it for the first time. A shadowy figure standing among the trees, watching me. My blood ran cold, and I froze in place, unable to move. The figure didn't approach, but its presence was enough to make my skin crawl. I quickly turned and started walking back, but the forest seemed to have changed. Paths that were there before had vanished, and I felt like I was walking in circles. Panic set in as I realized I was lost. I also began to notice other strange things. At times, I would catch glimpses of figures out of the corner of my eye, only for them to disappear when I turned to look directly. I heard distant cries and sobs, sometimes laughter that chilled me to the bone. The forest was alive with unseen horrors, and I was trapped in its embrace. The whispers grew louder, and I started seeing things that couldn't be real. Faces appeared in the trees, twisted in agony. My mind was playing tricks on me, and I felt myself slipping into madness. The shadowy figure, the suicide demon, was no longer just watching. It was following me, getting closer with each step. I ran, but no matter how fast I went, the forest seemed to stretch on forever. The trees closed in around me, and the air grew thick with a sense of dread. I could hear the demon's voice now, clearer than ever, urging me to give in, to end the suffering. The shadows seemed to reach out, clawing at my clothes, trying to drag me down. Every sound was amplified, every movement felt like a threat. In a desperate attempt to escape, I found myself face to face with the demon. Its eyes were empty, void of any humanity. The closer it got, the more I felt its pull, an overwhelming urge to end it all. But something inside me fought back. I screamed, shouted, did everything I could to resist its influence. Somehow, I found a way out. I don't remember how I did it, but I escaped the forest. The demon's voice faded, but the scars it left on my mind remained. My clothes were torn, my body was scratched and bruised, but I was alive. Returning to civilization was like waking up from a nightmare. But the experience haunted me. I couldn't sleep, couldn't think straight. The forest, the demon, the whispers, they were always there, lurking in the back of my mind. Even now, as I write this, I can still feel its call, tempting me to return. I've tried to move on, to forget, but Aokigahara has a hold on me that I can't break. It's a part of me now, a dark shadow that will never fully go away.